On what original indigenous lands do you live now? And we'll be live on YouTube any second here. There we go. We are live on YouTube now.
What original indigenous land?
So welcome everybody over on YouTube to Keepers of Humanity, Constellating Wisdom from the Stars to the Earth. I am Jocelyn Starfeather. I'm so excited to be here with you, my co-creator and co-facilitator for this event, and your co-host alongside me is Dr. Marie Mbuni, and she will join us pretty soon here. And as we're getting started, everybody over there on YouTube, please go ahead and put into the chat where are you located in the world? Put your name, your location, and we would love to know what are the original indigenous peoples of the land that you are now living on. And we want to honor all of these indigenous peoples all around the world, all throughout our gathering today and every day of our event. So welcome, Matt. Welcome, Linda in Chicago. Welcome, Mohit in India. Welcome, Jen in Edinburgh, Scotland. Welcome, Delphine in, oh, you are French, but located in deep India. Welcome, Vicky in Belgium. Welcome, Diana in New Orleans. Welcome, Eleanor in Wales. Niabi in Thailand. Welcome, Dr. Sandra Schneider in the land of the Mayans. Beautiful. Welcome, Suzanne in the Netherlands. Welcome, Tuliki in Finland. Diane in New Mexico. Daryl in Goa, India. Hi, Daryl. Daryl will be on live tomorrow as a speaker. Welcome, Daryl. Welcome, Carol in Canada. Welcome, Taria in Asheville, Cherokee territory here. Hi, Taria. Welcome, welcome. So glad to have you here. Welcome, Steve in San Francisco. Welcome, Neha in Bangkok. Welcome, Diane in Philadelphia, the Lenape Indians. Yes, thank you, Diane. Welcome, Maxbo in Costa Rica. Welcome, Nancy in Florida. Marie Lou in Southern France. Welcome, Julie in Australia. Welcome, Al in Malaysia. Welcome, Carlene in South Africa. Beautiful. Welcome, Sienna in Canada. Mare in Denver. Rebecca on Miwok land in Northern California. Beautiful. Thank you. Welcome, Leanna in Oklahoma from Choctaw Nation. Welcome, Alexandra in Toronto, Mississaugas of the credit. Oh, I don't want to mispronounce, but I see Chippewa, Haudenosaunee, and Wendy Peoples. Beautiful. Thank you, Alexandra. Wonderful. And thank you, everybody. I wish I could personally welcome each and every one of you, but we have many, many, many people on the call. And welcome those who are joining over on YouTube. So glad to have you here today. All right. So again, I just want to welcome you into this powerful gathering, Keepers of Humanity, Constellating Wisdom from the Stars to the Earth. We have been working on this for months, Dr. Marie Mbuni and I, and we are just so excited to bring it to you today. And so it all begins now. Now, we will have live interviews every day. We will also have pre-recorded interviews every day. So what I always recommend is if it seems like a lot of information, don't worry. Tune into the interviews that call to you the most and really trust your intuition and trust the universe. You'll be guided to the ones you are meant to see. You'll be guided to the information that you most need at this time. And so if you can watch all of them, fantastic. Of course, that's great. And if you can only watch one or two, that is also fantastic and it will be perfect. So really trust. Of course, we would love to have you on live with us as often as possible because it's just so fun to gather in this way and to feel the hearts of all of us in this beautiful visionary community coming together. So definitely join us live as often as you can every day from May 9th to 12th. So I have a beautiful presentation that I've prepared for you. I'm going to start sharing that now. And we will just flow here through this presentation today, and I will welcome. So throughout the entire conference, we welcome your thoughts, your reflections, your questions, your comments, always, always in the Zoom chat, in the YouTube chat. If you're watching any of these later as recordings, go ahead and write your comments, your reflections, your questions in the YouTube comments below the video. We would love to hear from you, and we want to know, what are you taking away? What are the insights coming through? What are the questions still in your mind? Okay, we really want to know because We want to address all of that. We want to include all of that. This is an amazing community coming together here. And we want you to know every single one of you watching is so valued. We are so glad to have you here. It's an honor to have each and every one of you in our community. So a warm welcome, and the adventure begins now as we dive into Keepers of Humanity, constellating wisdom from the stars to the earth. And so this is just an overview to let you know what to expect over the next 4 days. So we will be gathering together with indigenous wisdom keepers, spiritual guides, healers, shamans, musicians, and artists, revolutionaries and visionaries who hold the keys, the codes, the wisdom and secrets that are so deeply needed now in our world. And these leaders, these speakers, these visionaries will give you access to the eternal cosmic consciousness, guide you to break free from old stagnant patterns, and assist you in transforming those old patterns into completely new perceptions of what is possible here in the miracle realm of Earth. And truly, and this is something you will hear woven throughout the entire event, we are a miracle. Our existence here is a miracle. All of life is a miracle. The earth, the moon, the sun. It is all just beyond our belief how magical, how miraculous this world is. And so coming into connection with that brings us back into a remembrance of the sacredness of all things. And that is such a core and essential foundation of all that we have built here with Keepers of Humanity, a remembrance of the sacredness of life itself, a remembrance of the sacredness of every one of us. And so you'll hear that coming through in so many beautiful ways. And so we are gathering here so that together we can construct a bright and vibrant future with its foundations solidly rooted in love, compassion, joy, and truth. Aho. Now, if you haven't yet registered to hear all 30 of our amazing talks and presentations and to get all of the speakers' free gifts, just go to keepers-of-humanity.com and you will be able to sign up for free. Now, I am Jocelyn Starfeather, and I'll introduce myself a little bit more here. I am a visibility coach for visionary entrepreneurs. I am a spiritual alchemist and astrologer, a sacred sites tour facilitator and retreat leader, and the founder of Sacred Planet. And my mission truly, and I can't say this strongly enough, okay? My mission is to guide you in breaking free from everything that has held you back in the past, and really to rise into the fullness of your self-expression, of your mission, your purpose, all that you came here to do in this beautiful and miraculous lifetime. Truly, this is really, we are in a time when all of the cosmic forces, all of the forces of nature are telling us, break free from all that is no longer working, so that you can clear space, so that you can make room for all that is meant to come next. And this is what I'm here to guide people in beautiful ways. So you can learn more about my work on my website, wearesacredplanet.com, and also on my YouTube channel, the Sacred Planet YouTube channel. So check those out later when you have a chance. Now, I'm going to share 2 live presentations during Keepers of Humanity. The first one is right now, today, May 9th, and it will be a journey with the lioness goddess Sekhmet, who is right here with us. She's right here behind me, a beautiful statue of Sekhmet. So she is holding space for all that we're doing here. And then secondly, I will co-lead a live presentation on Saturday, May 11th at 12 noon New York time, which is with Dr. Marie Mbuni. And it is called A Journey into the Earth, Stars, and Beyond. So moving forward here, let's begin this journey with the lioness goddess Sekhmet. And this is really going deeply into transforming anger and grief into acts of love and service for the future of our world. So welcome to the presentation. And if you haven't already, if you've newly joined in the last few minutes and you haven't put your name and location into the chat, please do so. And please tell us, on what original indigenous lands are you living now? Okay, so it's really important that we start with the alchemical prayer. I work with alchemy quite a bit, and this is one of the really powerful downloads of information that my guides gave me many years ago, this alchemical prayer, and it is very transformational. So if you're new to my audience and you haven't heard the alchemical prayer yet, what I recommend is to say this prayer 3 times a day, every day. And we usually say the personal version, but because we're talking about the earth and humanity and all of life here in this conference, I've added a collective version. So let's just say both of these together, one after the other. Okay, so the personal version is, Dear Universe, please send me all of the things that I need and most deeply desire that I do not even yet know are possible. And this is what I recommend saying 3 times a day, every day. It's very powerful. It really begins to shift your entire reality and open you up to very, very new and beautiful possibilities. Now let's say the collective prayer together as well. Dear Universe, please send to all of us living beings on earth everything that we need and most deeply desire that we do not even yet know are possible. Blessed be, and so it is. And so it is, and so it is. Okay, so this journey with Sekhmet, here we begin with the magnificence of our existence on the earth. So the fact that we are alive is truly a miracle. We are light. We are made of light. We are born out of the light. Did you know that at the moment that the egg and sperm come together, there is a flash of light? This is not just in humans. Okay, this is in most creatures as we know them, right? It's incredible. There is a flash of light at that moment, scientifically documented even. And we eat light. You know, when we eat food, we're either eating a plant that has been taking in the light of the sun to form its material body, or we eat an animal that ate plants, right? So we are eating light. The heat of our bodies is the sunlight combusting within us, truly. And we return to light when we walk through the doorway of death. So just remember this throughout the entire conference, you are light. In every sense of the word, you are light. And it's a mystery that we're here. Scientists cannot explain how life began on our planet. They cannot explain what happens at that moment of conception or why there is a flash of light or how consciousness is brought into physical form as we grow in our mother's womb. Of course, many theories, but no clear, definitive explanation. It is a miracle. And we also don't know how liquid water, which we'll talk about throughout this conference as well, water being so important right now. We do not know how liquid water first appeared on Earth. And we know that water is absolutely essential for our life. And we don't know how water exists here in a much greater quantity than on any other known planet. Fascinating, right? How are we here? What we do know is our world is a paradise. It is a jewel. It is a miracle. Mother Earth, Pachamama, she is so beautiful. She is so fierce. She is so powerful. Let's just take her in, all her beauty. We love her so much. And she gives us life. And just look at this beautiful jewel planet that we get to live on, that we get to enjoy. We get to see beautiful sights like these. We get to have beautiful creatures like these as our companions here in this miraculous realm of Earth. These beautiful beings that share consciousness alongside of us. And the sun rises, the sun sets, the moments that are thresholds, that are portals. These are photos from different places around the world that I've taken of the sunset and the sunrise. This one's in Egypt, White Desert, right here. Yes. And this one here is in New Mexico just a few weeks ago. So beautiful there. Now, we must remember that our bodies and all living life forms. Now, this includes not only the plants and animals, but also the earth, of course, our mother, our great mother, the stars, the sun, the moon, the rivers, the mountains, the oceans. All of these are forms of life. All of these are sentient and conscious. I don't know if you've seen the articles recently that came out from the scientists of the world, saying, we think bugs or insects might actually be conscious, and we're all thinking, duh, of course they are. We know they are. So artificial intelligence, supercomputers, Wi-Fi, rockets traveling through space, none of these can hold a candle to the power, the abilities, the innate magic that we hold within every organic cell of our bodies and every organic cell of the earth and all of natural creation. Now, our ancient ancestors knew this, and this is such a focus of my work, is bringing the knowledge from long, long ago, the truths from our ancient and indigenous ancestors back into our remembrance today. So our ancient ancestors knew about this. Our indigenous wisdom keepers have been holding this knowledge for us, carrying it forward for thousands of years. And we are finally collectively remembering it now. We are bringing this wisdom back into our lives. We are remembering our connection to the ley lines, the stars, the elements. We are remembering that these connections give us power, sustain our life force, and inspire us to live with courage and confidence. Just think about the pyramids on the Giza Plateau right here. The beauty, the power, the magnificence. How did they do it? We don't know, but we did. We built these. And we're remembering now the secrets that allowed this kind of magnificent event to take place. And the Sphinx as well. We are remembering that we are so much more powerful than we've been told. Vastly, infinitely more powerful than we've been told. And we are each an integral part of a vast, conscious, intelligent universe. Each being has their own unique role and responsibility, their own beautiful reason for existence. Every tree, every insect, every one of the billions and billions of different types of plants has its own unique role and reason for being here. Every tree, every fish, every star, together we all support and enliven one another. So then, what is the role of humans? Now, there are ancient and indigenous cosmologies from every continent. And these cosmologies consistently tell us that humans are meant to be caretakers, protectors, and guardians of the beauty of life on Earth. That is our role. That is our responsibility since the beginning of time. Now, I will paraphrase here Archon Lashwala and what he speaks about in his amazing book, The Time of the Black Jaguar, which I highly recommend reading to everybody. If you haven't read it yet, go get it today. You will be so glad. It's a life changer. So Archon Lashwala says, and again, I'm paraphrasing here, but this is what he speaks about in this book. The role of humans is to sing, dance, and light the sacred fires. And in doing so, we activate and enliven the powerful life force that runs through everything in our world. This is what we're here to do. And then in the Hopi cosmology, it is said that humans are meant to be stewards of the one-hearted path, which is the traditional path of balance that follows the original instructions from the Creator. We're meant to be stewards. Right? We're meant to activate and enliven the life force of everything. And yet, what do we see happening in our world today? What decisions do we see humans as a collective making? Right? We are living in this situation that truly we did not consent to, right? Where we are immersed in and forced to become dependent upon toxic chemicals, fossil fuels, fake food. Now we can choose to be independent from those, but it is hard to extract ourselves, right? It is hard to say, I'm never going to drive a car again. for example, because I don't want to use fossil fuels. Just one little example. And we see our precious, irreplaceable species and life-giving forests disappearing because of human activities. And through it all, we're being told that we're powerless by those that, are in power. Quote, I'm putting air quotes here. We are told that those in charge know best. We are told that our innate senses and intuition are wrong and that we're crazy if we tune into those innate senses and intuition. We are taught to depend on the modern medical establishment, corporations, governments, etc., to tell us how to live. And I don't even like going into all of this. I don't want to create negativity. I want to create awareness, right? We know children in the world are starving. Children in the world are being needlessly harmed. The 1% of people at the top have all the power and money. So many people everywhere in the world are forced to work to the point of exhaustion just to survive. And what is called collectively development or progress is fueling the continued cutting down of forests, destructions of ecosystems, pollution of the rivers and oceans, and the list goes on. So what is happening here? We live in this miracle realm of Earth. How have we become so lost? How is this even possible? And so this is where the grief and the anger comes in, right? And this is what I'm sharing today, and we will connect with Sekhmet in just a moment here, that we must look at our grief. We must work with our anger. We must feel our despair, and we feel these things rightfully. Our bodies, our emotions, every cell of our being is saying, this is not okay. This is not acceptable. We cannot live like this. This is not true. We're not living in truth. Now, these feelings and emotions are difficult. We don't want to feel powerless. We don't want to feel angry. We don't want to be grieving, but we have to feel it. It's all an important part of what's happening now. And so I invite you to take heart and know that these feelings and emotions are important. Whenever these feelings rise up in you, when you see a news headline or you hear of, a forest being cut down so they can build more townhomes, right? When you feel that anger, that grief, that despair rising up, know that these emotions are leading you back. They are collectively leading us back to our core and essential truths of who we really are, because we're here to be caretakers. We're here to be guardians. And what we see happening in the world around us goes completely against that in every possible way. So if you feel anger, outrage, and grief as you reflect on all of this, all of you listening, right? You are a part of the solution. Because you feel that, you are here to bring the solution. You feel that way because you remember and you honor the sacredness of life. And you are here as a life carrier, one who is here to remember what is true. I know all of you listening, all of you attending this beautiful conference, you are a light worker, you are revolutionaries, you are change makers. And I thank you for your service. And I thank you for showing up in this powerful way at this momentous time on our planet, because you are here to assist. And we're all in this together at this gathering, right? In changing our human trajectory on this beautiful planet that we love so much. And very important to remember, you have so much more power than you know. You have so much more power than you've been told. And Sekhmet is here to guide us in this. So here's beautiful Sekhmet. This is an image of her in Karnak Temple in Egypt, in a chamber where it is said that she has been in that same exact place for 5,000 years or more. I think probably 10,000 years or more. She has not been moved from the original place that she was placed there by the ancient people long, long, long ago, because it is a powerful place that is aligned with the stars. It is aligned with the ley lines. And this beautiful statue, the guards there, the local Egyptian guards will tell you, she's still alive. This statue, she is alive. And when you go in and you gaze into her eyes, you know that she's alive. Right, so let's connect in with the fierceness of beautiful Sekhmet. And this statue here is in the precinct of Mut, which I'll speak a little more about in a minute. And this is actually, she's seated. You can't see her throne in this, the way the picture is framed, but this is seated Sekhmet, who is Mut. Now she is the infinitely potent feminine seated in her power. She does not need to stand up. She does not even need to lift a finger, because her will be done, because she's so powerful. So Sekhmet and Mut, they are two sides of the same coin. And Sekhmet is the fierce mother. She is equal parts creation and destruction, which is the natural order of the universe. And equal parts creation and destruction is the most ancient understanding of the mother. Sekhmet rules war, pestilence, and healing. So she understands healing. She also understands illness, so she rules both sides of that polarity. She is also associated with strength, courage, anger as a portal to truth, and the fierceness of love. So in her Sekhmet form, she is the standing, fierce warrior lioness. And in her Mut form, she is the infinitely potent feminine seated in her power. So a little bit more about the primordial mother. We know that the great mother in the early goddess cultures not only gave birth and created life, but she was also the dark mother. And this is important. This is one and the same, the mother. If you think about the earth as well, it's the same. She births us. We are birthed from her body. We are made from all of the incredible elements of the earth's body. And when we die, we go back to her. We go back into the womb. And so the vulture, since extremely ancient times, we know for certain 10,000 years ago or more, the vulture has symbolized the great mother, because the vulture assists in folding the deceased beings back into the great womb of the mother so that they can be born once again in a new form. We never die. We are born again into the next form. So Sekhmet Mut carries the energy of this original primordial understanding of the mother and the forces that create us. This is a beautiful image of Sekhmet that you can see at Philae Temple in Aswan, Egypt. It's the Temple of Isis. And she has here the sun disk and the uraeus. So this is the exploding crown chakra, right, with the cobra. Now, this is another image of the precinct of Mut, which I mentioned earlier. So we have found approximately 600 statues of Mut, seated Sekhmet, and you can see these beautiful ladies here seated on their thrones. And so this is near Karnak Temple. And so a space has been set aside now that's called the precinct of Mut, where you can go and visit many, many, many of these statues. It is thought that there may have originally been 730 of them, which would be 2 for each day of the year. And they were created during the reign of Pharaoh Amenhotep III. Now, he held ceremonies to honor Sekhmet in the morning and evening each day. And so it is believed that this is why there are so many Sekhmet statues, because he needed a different statue every morning, a different statue every evening of the year, 365 days of the year. And what is amazing about this is that if you go to almost any museum in the world that has an Egyptian section, you will be able to gaze into the eyes of Sekhmet Mut. And this is really powerful because she's here for us. She is here. Somehow this was set up thousands of years ago that almost anywhere you can go in the world, you can gaze into the eyes of Sekhmet. You can speak to her. You can commune with her. You can ask her for her wisdom, and she will share her wisdom with you. So I invite you, go to a local museum, find your local Sekhmet. She is right there with you. She's everywhere. So now imagine her too, seated in her power on every place, on every continent where humans live. Definitely in all the major cities, also in some smaller town areas, right? So beautiful. She's everywhere. She is with us. And this is what I find as I've been working more and more with Egypt is these beautiful gods and goddesses, these Neteru, this is Isis here behind me as well. They're coming back into our consciousness because they hold the wisdom that we need to remember. They hold it so strongly, and they're inviting us to Egypt to come and stand in the temples and feel it and read it on the walls and remember in every level of our being. So back to Sekhmet. So as I mentioned, this beautiful statue of standing Sekhmet in the Sekhmet Chapel at Karnak is one of the few statues from ancient times that is still living. And it is an experience like nothing else in the world. I would love to hear in the chat who here has been to the Sekhmet Chapel at Karnak and gazed into her eyes, right? Yes, in the chat. And if you'd like to share more about your experience with that, please do. And if you're watching this on YouTube, write it in the YouTube comments. I would love to hear from you about that. It is an experience like nothing else to go and stand before her and gaze into her eyes. Her eyes come to life and she speaks to you. It's incredible. So she is here for us. Now, an interesting thing to note is that Sekhmet carries the energy of these other certain goddesses, such as Pele, the Hawaiian goddess of volcanoes, or Kali, the yogic goddess of creation and destruction. And so also the energy of volcanoes. So with Sekhmet, we remember that we need to have our own eruptions and cycles of destruction. These times are painful, but they're really important. We can't live unless we continually rebirth ourselves. We can't come into our highest power unless we allow ourselves to go into this process of shedding all that's old and no longer serves us, and then we make space for our power to rise. So this is where Sekhmet takes a stand for us in our lives. And this is birthing energy. It's not permanent. It's explosive. It includes rapid and sudden changes. And it is always in service to life itself. It is always serving more and more life, the expansion of life. And it creates space for higher possibilities and new types of growth to take place. So this is what is happening in our world right now. We're living in a time of death and rebirth. We chose to be here now because those of us who are here now, we have what it takes to make the needed changes happen. Although we might not want to admit that some days, we might not want to have to go all the way down into that rabbit hole, right? But we do, we have what it takes. And this is really important. And this is something that Sekhmet teaches us. The more that we can lean into the intensity, the more we can work with it. And the more we can facilitate this rebirthing process. So this is why I invite you, don't turn away from your fear, your anger, your grief, your despair. Turn toward it. Work with it. It is a gift. It is showing you the path to truth. And we are birthing the radical new world from within each and every one of us. Birth is not an easy process, but it is so powerful. And truly, it changes everything. So Sekhmet is here to constantly remind you just how powerful you truly are. She's here to show you the courage and boldness that you carry within, the fierceness, the fierce love. And this is something really important to connect in with at these times. When we have anger, when we have grief on behalf of the earth, on behalf of the other beings or the other humans, this is the fierceness of love. It is not base anger. It is not needless anger. It is fierceness that is rooted in love. And so we do need to stand up for what we believe in at this time from that place of fierce love. So here are some suggestions for how to transform your anger and grief into acts of love and service. Feel your emotions. Let them be expressed. And so importantly, do not push them down thinking they're wrong. Do not feel shame or guilt about these emotions. Let yourself feel them, honor them. It actually gets easier to feel them when we honor them, when we thank them for telling us the truth. And chances are your emotions are telling you truths that are not acceptable to the external world, to mainstream society, to the governments, the corporations, and the modern medical system, etc. Right? So it's difficult to receive these truths because it puts us at odds with parts of the world around us, but it is valuable information. We must take in this information. We must come back to our truth. And so you can work with your emotions. You can even, your emotions are intelligent. Okay. You can speak to your emotions. You can say, fear, please show me a new path. Anger, please show me the new way. And you can utilize the power of these emotions. And you may even find that they become like an arrow pointing straight toward where you can focus your attention. I know as I work with visionary entrepreneurs, wherever there is fear, that is pointing us toward exactly the highest mission and purpose of that person. It's incredible, right? So these emotions can be like arrows pointing us straight where we need to go. We just need to turn toward them and work with them and ask for their intelligence to come forth. Now, also, as you're working with all of this, really think about your gifts, your skills, your expertise, the modalities you have learned, the trainings you've had, your confidence, your passion, your eagerness, what brings you joy, what makes you feel whole. Because you have these gifts and you were drawn to learn these modalities and you were given this passion and this way of finding joy for a reason, because you are meant to apply that in the world to where it is needed. You are meant to bring forth these gifts to make a positive difference in our world. And every single one of us is here to do this uniquely in our very own way. Now, this could be small, it could be large. You don't have to be doing TEDx talks and podcasts. You could plant a garden, right? Or you could educate young children on, feeling their connection with the earth. Whatever's right for you, every single one of you will have your own very unique way you're going to do this. The size or scope doesn't matter, but all that matters is that you follow your heart and honor those emotions and choose a new path that brings your gifts forward to birth healing and hope into our world. Let that anger and grief be transmuted into the fullness of who you truly are. And I invite you to let your anger and grief show you how you are meant to be a leader for the future of our world. And we are going to have so much inspiration for you here in Keepers of Humanity. So really, as you're attending all of the talks in this gathering, look for more clues. Look for the golden threads to light up to show you the way. And following this event, we'll have beautiful ways you can continue working with your insights, continue working with all the new ideas that have blossomed as you've attended these interviews, so you can truly rise into leadership. And, this is an all hands on deck kind of time on the earth. We are all so deeply needed to bring our gifts, right? And to make our unique and brilliant contribution for the future of our world. My guides have been telling me we need a tidal wave of humans. We need a tidal wave of humans to come in and dare to make the changes that are needed. And I know everybody at this gathering holds a piece of that puzzle, right? Every one of us is a part of that tidal wave that's here to help. And this is because a new type of leadership is rising in our world, a very new epoch of leadership. So we see the old type of leadership. It's not really leadership, but we see what our governments and corporations and things like this are doing, and we see that that cannot go on any longer. It is outdated. It is overrated. It is no longer working at all. Obviously not working. And so it's just so clear. These old systems, these old structures of society, of government must break down. to make space for a new way. The old systems and structures of our beliefs as well, our belief systems have got to break down and make space for a new way. And so I know that everyone attending here, all of you watching these interviews, all of our amazing speakers and keepers of humanity, as well as so many others, light workers, healers, revolutionaries, entrepreneurs, truth seekers all around the world, are already bringing forward the next level of leadership. So thank you to each and every one of you, because you are doing this. And here is something really interesting. So based on the precession of the equinoxes, and I've made a whole separate video on that topic, which I will link in the comments or in the description field below this video in case you want to check it out. The precessional cycle is the great year, the 26,000 year cycles. And the ancient people knew about this. They tracked it because depending on where we are on the cycle, we can predict what's going to be happening in the world. So anyway, check that video out if you're interested. I'll put it in the description field. But we are moving into the Aquarian age. So what this means is, astronomically in the sky, the sun is reaching the point where it, at the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere, it is no longer rising in the Pisces constellation, because we've been in the age of Pisces for the last 2,150 years. It is now just beginning to rise in the Aquarius constellation. So this is an astronomical fact. Okay. We are moving into the Aquarian age. So the new leadership models will be based on these Aquarian values. And just listen to these. And I would love to hear in the chat if these Aquarian values resonate for you, because this is the new leadership rising in our world. So it will be grassroots leadership from the bottom up, humanitarian, designed to honor and respect all people everywhere. Honoring the indigenous ways of living and knowing, honoring the sacredness of life, and keeping all species in mind as we make our decisions. Looking not only at the present moment, but also accounting for the next 7 generations of life on Earth and beyond. And this one is so Aquarian. Weirdness, uniqueness, diversity, and thinking outside of the box are the keys to success. As my kids say, my kids are 10 and 13. So when somebody does something really unique and different, they say, you do you, like they're honoring, like, yes, you do it your way, you do you. I love that. It's a very Aquarian statement, right? So we can't solve our problems with the same thinking that we use to create them. As we know, Albert Einstein said that many, many years ago. So we need very different ways of seeing reality. And weird and different become the new cool. I see this happening with my kids and in the world of the young people. It's amazing. Weird and different becomes the new cool. Also, in the Aquarian value system, sacred economics is essential. No more power over tactics with money. No more terrible decisions like cutting down rainforests based on money. And John Perkins will speak about this in his live interview on Saturday, the life economy, using money for good. Okay, so do these Aquarian values resonate for you, leaders? I would love to hear. Yes. Yes, yes. Beautiful. No problems, only solutions. We can do this. Yes. Thank you, Nancy. I love that. Yes. Care economy and time banking. Beautiful. Yes. Okay. So glad it resonates. And this is what we're here to embody. This is what we are here, right? Our generations listening to this and the next generations coming after us are here to bring this kind of leadership, and it will change everything. Pluto in Aquarius is ensuring that that shift will happen over the next 20 years. That's a whole other topic I won't go into right at the moment. Okay, and very important reminder from Sekhmet about all of this, if some of that seems like, wow, how are we going to get there? Well, as Sekhmet has told me many times, things are only impossible until they are not. Right? Words of wisdom. Keep that in mind. So I want to share with you as well, because this is so connected to what we're talking about here as we step into our leadership, the importance of spiritual entrepreneurship. When we follow the guidance of our heart to start a purpose-based business. Now, I use that term business loosely. This may be a community, maybe a venture, right? Maybe an amazing new thing that is not called a business, but it's here to change the world. And when we step into leadership for the future of our world, when we answer the calling of our soul to be in service, to brighten other people's lives, to be a visionary, a change maker, a revolutionary, when we do any of these things, we are stepping into our true power and we are claiming the mission we came here to complete in this lifetime. Now, the entrepreneurial journey, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more here on the next slide, but this journey is not for the faint of heart. And it's one of the most rewarding things you can possibly do. So who here, tell me in the chat, who here is entrepreneurial? I would just love to know. Now, this doesn't mean you have to have a business already, but do you think about things differently? And I'll talk about this a little bit here, right? It's about saying yes to our heart and soul callings, right? It's about knowing that we can change other people's lives and we can create vast ripples of change that go out infinitely into the world. And it's about seeing no problems, only solutions, as Nancy said in the chat. I love that, right? So if you are a leader, if you are an entrepreneur, or if you just have that mindset and you know that's where you're headed, that's what you're meant to do at some point in this lifetime, write yes in the chat. If you're feeling the call to become a leader or an entrepreneur, write yes in the chat and in the YouTube comments. Yes, yes. Okay. Lots of yeses. Beautiful. Simple things can make a big difference. Yes, exactly. I love your comments. That's great. Okay. So here's something to know. Being a spiritual entrepreneur or a leader is always an initiatory journey. Now, the reason for this is that when we take that role, we are going up against the status quo. Like when I said the emotions might be telling you truths that are not acceptable to common society, right? When we step into this entrepreneurial leadership path that is aligned with our heart, probably our friends and family might not totally understand that. And I really think of this as like we are bushwhacking a new path through the forest. The entrepreneur, the leader, this is also the Aries archetype in astrology, looks into the forest and sees there's not a path here, but I know this is the best way to go. And so they find that path, they make the path, they clear it, right? And this is a path that many people will tell you is not possible, it's not logical, it's not reasonable, but you know not to listen to them. With their entrepreneurial heart, you know that this is the true path for you. And it is also a transformation for us. It's not only about going against what others may say, but it's also a time for us to rise into our power and confidence. And in order to do that, we must heal our shadows and our fears. And Sekhmet so beautifully can guide us in that. And we must move through the resistance and get to the other side where our true and deep power lies. We need to let go of our old belief systems so that we can come into the full expression of our gifts, our passion, our voice. And then we can become our fullest, most beautifully expressed, radiant, confident self and change the world with our gifts. So this is what the world is asking of many of us now at this momentous time. The world is calling us into our leadership. And as we step into that leadership role, our job is to try out new things and not know if they're going to work or not. And this is one of these core attributes of an entrepreneur, okay, or a radical new world leader, right? You will often not know what you're doing. I've just learned this again and again through entrepreneurship, right? But you're willing to try, and that's all that matters. So I want to say, for those who maybe have tried to start a project or a business or a community, if it didn't work, make sure you don't quit now, okay? Because you've learned so much from the time that it didn't work, and you're going to try again, and you're going to try again, and eventually you will find what works. And you'll know what doesn't work, and you will get better and better at it over time. This is the true entrepreneurial mindset, right? Being willing to have courage, jump into the unknown, and try to do things you've never done before. So again, write yes in the chat if you feel that. Willing to try things no one else is willing to try things, not knowing if it will work, because This journey takes courage and daring. And really, this is the only way forward in building the radical new world. As we must shed all that is no longer serving us, we got to try new things. Because what we see before us, what we see around us in the world, it's not working. We've got to find the new way. We've got to bushwhack that new path. So it's so much fun. It's very exciting. And I always say, if you never want to be bored again, become an entrepreneur or a leader. So I would love to hear from you, as we're starting this conference. And as we know, we sit here with our hands and our hearts together. Okay, each one of us holding hands. Just imagine, close your eyes for a moment. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people attending this conference. Imagine us holding our hands together in a big circle all around the world, all the way around Pachamama, bringing our light, bringing our love. We are creating a new heart together, our new world together. And our hearts are connected in that. We are doing this, and we're starting right now in a whole new way. So I ask you to reflect on, and maybe you can journal on this, or maybe you can write it in the chat. What are you inspired to do differently in your life based on what you've heard here so far today? And I invite you to keep journaling on that after every talk that you will hear in this event. What are you inspired to do differently? Or what are you seeing differently, right? As we change our perspective, we change our entire reality. So these speakers, teachers, indigenous wisdom keepers, leaders are going to bring you incredible paradigm shifts. So write them down. What are you seeing differently? What are you inspired to do differently? What kind of revolutionary, visionary ideas have surfaced for you? And as you're writing these in the chat, read everyone else's inspirations too. Because in community, this is the magic that can happen. We fire up each other with all of our amazing ideas. And I really invite you to reach out to and form collaborations with others who you meet here in the Keepers of Humanity community, because this is such a visionary group of people coming together. Our hearts are aligned toward the future, and many hands working together make for light work. So there's going to be so much shared in the coming days. I'm just so excited for you to experience it all. Now, I want to mention that we are raising funds during Keepers of Humanity, and we are raising funds for two amazing organizations. One is the Pachamama Alliance. The other one is Pu'ukukui Watershed Preserve. And these are just incredible organizations. The Pachamama Alliance is assisting the indigenous people in the Amazon rainforest to protect their land, to keep the oil drillers out, to keep the loggers and the agriculturalists out, and keep their ancestral lands clean and healthy as they have done for thousands and thousands of years. And the Pu'ukukui Watershed Preserve is on the island of Maui. And as you will hear in Keone Hanale's amazing interview, which is available either later today or tomorrow, it's either day 1 or day 2, pre-recorded. You don't want to miss that one. It's really powerful. This is a watershed preserve where the water is connected to the Pleiades constellation. And the Pleiades, as you probably know, in many, many ancient and indigenous cosmologies, is said to be where we came from. Right. So there's more about that in Keone's interview. But anyway, it's so important to protect the water. It's so important to hold the water sacred and preserve the areas of the world where our water is clear and pure and pristine. And this is one place. And so we want you to know that if you purchase lifetime access, 50% of every purchase goes directly to these organizations. So I'll keep you updated in the weeks after the event on the total amount we're able to send to them, which will be very exciting. You're also welcome to look up these organizations on your own and send your own donation outside of purchasing lifetime access, whatever is right for you. But we have specially chosen these organizations because we so deeply believe in what they are doing for the future of our world. And before I close my interview here today, my talk, I want to share with you how to connect with me. So you can check out my websites. I have two actually, wearesacredplanet.com and jocelynstarfeather.com. all kinds of wonderful goodies on there. If you go to either of those sites, I invite you to check out my online courses page, which you can link to from the very top corner of both sites, because I offer many free and donation-based online courses. I have, for example, a course called Mysteries of Egypt, which is a beautiful, powerful deep dive into the key temples and the Neteru, gods and goddesses of Egypt. And it's a beautiful, beautiful journey, and you can join that for a donation. So go check that out. And I do want to mention too, if you would like to travel to Egypt with me, I'm going to have 2 different tours of Egypt in 2025. One will be in April. The other will be October to early November. The one in April will be about the mysteries of the goddess, a revelation of the secrets of Isis, Hathor, Sekhmet, and Ma'at. And it's going to be a really deep, sacred feminine journey. And the October-November one will be the untold history of Egypt from the indigenous wisdom keepers viewpoint, and that is co-facilitated with Stephen Mailer, who is another speaker in the conference. And also, if you go in April, there will be many different amazing surprises, and Patricia Alyan Lehman, who I am have interviewed, and you'll find her interview here too. She is my teacher in Egypt. She is so amazing. I've learned so much from her, and she will be there in April as well. So lots more to explore here as we move forward with this event. I hope you will enjoy every single interview. Welcome, welcome once again. And we just have so much beauty to share with you all throughout these 4 days, May 9th to the 12th. And so we can't wait to share these adventures with you. So much love, everybody. And I will stop my share here. So Tara would love to see the slide about the new leadership again. Yes, we can do that. Let me go back to that. And take a screenshot if you want. Hold on, I'm having trouble finding it. There it is. Okay, well, let me go back to Zoom. Here is the new leadership slide once again. And yeah, you're welcome to take a screenshot of this. These are some powerful principles to guide us for sure as we go forward. I would love to see in the chat, does anybody have any other questions? Questions about the event? Where is the event scheduled? Yes, I can tell you that. So you can find all, I'm gonna have to minimize this slightly, so sorry about that, but it'll still be up. I need to find the link. So you can find the schedule at this link, which I'm going to put in the chat. And also this schedule page is linked in every email that we send out. So you can easily find it from any of our emails that we'll send during the event. Now, if you haven't yet registered for the event, please do go to keepers-of-humanity.com and register. And I'll show you what that screen looks like. Here it is. Okay, so keepers-of-humanity.com. If you're not registered yet, if you're not getting our emails, go and register there, and we will immediately send you the link to the event schedule so you can see the full schedule of speakers. So hopefully that's helpful. Let me see what other questions are in the chat. Yes, Carlene. So what Archon Lashwala says in his book, and again, that amazing book is called The Time of the Black Jaguar. And so he says that the role and responsibility of humans on the earth is to dance and sing and light the sacred fires to raise and activate the enlivenment of the life force of all things. So thank you for asking about that. It's so beautiful. Dr. Sandra Schneider says, I thought I was crazy, so inspired now. Yeah, this is the thing, like the modern world will make us think we're crazy for following what has always been true, what our ancient and indigenous ancestors have always known, what we know in our hearts, what we see shown to us in every aspect of nature, every single day, every tree, every phase of the moon brings us back to these truths. And yet we're told that we're crazy if we follow them. So I invite you to know that you are not crazy, You are more sane than most of the world if you're here. Yeah, so beautiful. Thank you, Jessica Ann, for your kind words. Beautiful. Okay. So we will close here. Ooh, I see Pat as a writer. I'm inspired to write a book about transformation through food, and my agent has blocked it for 3 years. Oh, wow. Pat, you need a new agent or self-publishing. Get it out there. Transformation through food. Yes, because our food system has been co-opted. I'm sure you obviously you know all about this, but the food in the stores, like half of it is not even real food anymore, right? So as we come back to real food, as we come back to food that's alive, we heal. So Pat, I believe in your mission, and don't listen to that agent that's blocking it. Find another way. Find another publisher, another agent, self-publish it. I believe in you, Pat. Thank you for bringing this forward, and thank you for not giving up. So beautiful. Okay. Yes. Liko says a wise friend keeps reminding me to replace crazy with extraordinary. Yes. Yes. I love that. That's fabulous. Okay. And Pat, everybody's on your side here. So you're in the right place. And this is the thing. This is the community where we honor these Aquarian values. We honor the earth. We honor the sacredness of life. So I'm so glad you're all here. Can't wait to share all the amazingness with you over the next 4 days. We have our next live talk, which will be in about 1 hour, starting at 12 noon Eastern time. My co-host and co-creator of this event that I've been working together with to create this for many months, Dr. Marie Mbuni. She is just amazing, and she is coming on next, and she's going to share with you beautiful, beautiful, profound wisdom. So be sure to come back to this same Zoom link or to the same YouTube, Sacred Planet YouTube channel where you can see the lives, or wait for the recording. That's fine too. All of these will be available free for 48 hours. Each interview will be available free for 48 hours by recording. So wherever you are in the world, you can watch them live, you can watch the recordings, whatever you prefer. And if you do buy lifetime access, just know that 25% of your purchase goes directly to the Pachamama Alliance. 25% of your purchase goes directly to the Pu'u Kukui watershed preserve in Maui. And so it's all for a good cause. It's all for the future of our world. Okay, so much love to everybody. I will see you again soon in a little less than an hour. Bye for now. Mwah.